brackets are officially set. We begin the playoffs today. I was going to make this video last night, but I was tired. So NBA playoff predictions. Let's just get who's going to get swept out the way first. Because let's just make this really quick. The Pelicans, they're getting swept in 4 by the Suns, and the Bulls are getting swept in 4 by the Bucks. Now when it comes to, some more competitive series, we're going to look at Denver and Golden State. We got Golden State winning this in 6. Them not having a big man for Joker is going to cause them to lose a couple of games. But hopefully Steph gets more healthy as the series progresses. They're a better team. They should win. They got better second, third options compared to Nikola Jokic, who's our Will Barton. Aaron Gordon, Monte Morris, maybe Bones Highland he goes off. But compared to Clay, Andrew, Jordan Poole, it doesn't really compare right there. So Golden State's winning that series in 6. I got Memphis beating Minnesota in 5. I know Minnesota played great against the Clippers, even though Karl-Anthony Towns didn't play good at all that game. But it's just a better team, and Minnesota's defense isn't that good. That's definitely going to get exposed in this playoff series, especially when when Memphis plays really good defense. So Memphis handles them in 5. The Jazz and the Mavericks, I'm going with Utah in 6. I would have went with Dallas in 6, but Luka has that calf strain. He's likely to miss the first 2 games. Utah should split, but they honestly should go up 2-0. And then let's say Luka gets back. They split at home. They go back and forth. They finish that series off in 6. But I had Dallas winning this series first, but Luka gets that calf strain. Gotta go to Utah. Now let's head over to Eastern Conference. The pick that I'm the least confident in is Miami and the Hawks. Reason why: the Miami is a better team, but Atlanta has the best player in the series. I'm gonna see them extending the series to 7 games. I have Miami winning this, but yeah, this is the least confident I am in a pick on the Eastern Conference. Like, Trae Young's the best player in the series, clearly, but Miami has a way better team. And you have to deal with Clint Capella getting injured. Now, the injury doesn't seem to be major, which has been reported from the Atlanta Hawks, but that could hamper them in the first couple of games. But I got Miami winning this in 7 games. When it comes to the 76ers and the Raptors, it's going to be a very tight, competitive series. But I got 76ers pulling away in 6. They should, because I'm going to assume James Harden has at least one good game where he's very efficient. He's making the step back threes. He's facilitating. Joel is going to do Joel things. MVP caliber season. He should have averaged, 27 and 12 easily. But it isn't the best matchup. They got a lot of length on Toronto. They got a lot of bodies they can throw at Joel or James Harden. Matisse Thybulle won't be eligible to play in Toronto games, which shouldn't be that big of a deal. But you got a guy that can give you great perimeter defense for at least 20 minutes tonight. Not a floor spacer, but you want to have all your best players out there in the playoffs, and them not being eligible for 4 games, for 3 games, could cost you. So hopefully they're able to get the job done on the road at least once with him not out there, because he's going to be for the home games. But 76ers should win this. They do have the best player in the series. They gotta win in 6. Bucks and Bulls. Yeah, Bucks are gonna shit on the Bulls. They're winning this in 4. I'd be surprised if it goes to 5. If DeRozan was still a game, he gets like 40 points. But yeah, the longest this series is gonna be is 5 games. Now we got the most marquee matchup in the first round: the 2nd seed Boston Celtics versus the 7th seed Brooklyn Nets. And I got Boston winning this series in 7 games. I mean, Kyrie, KD is bound to have a great game. I'm going to assume that either Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown could cancel him out. Marcus Smart has really picked up his offense as of lately, and the Boston Celtics, they made a huge turnaround at the All-Star break, because they were, a barely 500 team, but then they're able to, turn it around and be the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference after not being that great in the first half of the season, unlike the fucking Lakers. But I got to win in 7. I know Robert Williams isn't going to be available for the first game. I don't think Ben Simmons is either, but I do think both of them will return later in the series, and that could be an impact. Well, it is going to be a big impact from both teams, but I think Celtics are a better team. I think they'll be able to survive where Tatum or Brown, Smart, when they're on the bench compared to the Brooklyn Nets, and I think the Brooklyn Nets on defense is going to get carved up a bit more now, against the Boston Celtics. And this should be a very fun and competitive 7-game series, but it's going to the Celtics. Do I get on with my 2nd round picks right now? Actually, no. We're going to talk about the NBA play-in, how it's been, a huge success for the NBA. And it's not surprising, because their first edition of play, post-COVID, post-bubble, was the Lakers and the Warriors. So with that classic to start off with, they weren't getting rid of the plan anytime soon. And following up the plan, we've also had other great games with even smaller markets, well, small markets, getting big numbers. So they're not getting rid of the plan. It's a huge success. There's only been a couple of stinkers with the playing games we had, and they've all been involving the Charlotte Hornets. But every other game's competitive, or at least entertaining at some point. Because you got the Clippers and the Pelicans last night. Both teams go on huge runs. Both teams concede leads, but it's still a grudge match, a hard fight to the very end. I'm well aware that Paul George was absent that game due to COVID protocols earlier. But the Clippers had 2 chances to win a game to advance anyways, so I'm not going to care too much. I mean, my team had a chance to make it to the play-in, and they fucking stunk, and they didn't make it. So I'm not going to care that a team gets knocked out in the play-in. If you want to avoid the play-in, win more games regular season, and if you're in the play-in and you're the 7th or 8th seed, just win 1 game. It's really that simple. Especially going against the 9th and 10th seed, and they gotta win 2. You just win 1 game. You have one of those games at home. You gotta get the job done. I'm not gonna. Oh well, the playing is stupid because the 7th and 8th seeds. I get it. When you got fans saying that it kind of trivializes the regular season when it comes to 7th and 8th seeds, because it is 82 games. But you just gotta win more games to avoid the play-in. If you don't want to be in the play-in, win more games regular season. Just win a couple more games, get that 6 spot, and then you'll be fine. Because if you're the 7th or 8th seed anyway, you're most likely getting swept in the first round. So win a few more games, avoid going against the best team in the first round, and avoid getting swept later. I don't understand any of the criticism towards the playing games. They make these games matter. They have that sense of urgency. They got the playoff atmosphere right before the playoffs. It's great. And we had 2 awesome games yesterday with the Cleveland Cavaliers, Atlanta Hawks, and of course with the Pelicans and the Clippers. Don't want to be in the play-in, win more games, avoid getting swept later in the first round. It's not that difficult. I don't see the hate behind the plan. I really don't. On to our second round picks though. I'm gonna stop at second round picks because injuries, whatnot, matchups. I'll see how it develops later, when we go to that third round conference finals. But let's get into our second round picks. And we'll start off in the Eastern Conference this time. It should be Miami and Philadelphia. I got Philadelphia winning this series in 7 games. I know Miami has great depth, but I think depth is overrated in the playoffs. I know they got Tyler Hero, who's a scoring machine off the bench, but I just like the Sixers better in this matchup, so I'm going with the Sixers. Then we have the Bucks and the Celtics. Again, this should be another classic 7-game marquee series, and I got the Bucks winning this series in 7 games. Now, if Robert Williams is completely healthy by the time this series gets off, then I may, revise this pick and flip it to the Celtics. But I got the Bucks winning this series in 7 games. On to the West, we will have Memphis and Golden State. I got Memphis winning this series in 6 games. I know Steph Curry should be at better health by now, but with the lack of that paint presence from Golden State and them having, an elite paint scorer like John Moran, even though he's not a big man, I think he's going to be able to take advantage of that. I think Memphis wins this series in 6 games. They should be able to do a decent job or an okay job with Steph Curry. They got a lot of bodies they can throw at him. So I like Memphis winning against Golden State in 6 games. And finally, we are going to have the Phoenix Suns and the Utah Jazz. I really want to pick a sweep in this series by Phoenix. I just think it's like that Utah has a great game from 3 at home. They make 15 threes. They're very efficient from the field. Donovan Mitchell gets 35 points. They win a shootout, and that extends the series to 5 games, and it being over in 4 games. But Rudy Gobert is going to get cooked in that series. Phoenix has a lot of guys that could shoot, a lot of guys that could exploit that matchup. Of course, they got a great coach. They got a great on-court coach with Chris Paul. 5-game series at the longest. Maybe if Utah has 2 of those games, it goes to 6. But I think only they're going to have 1 of those games they're able to win. Because Phoenix is a clutch team, so they could easily pull it out too if Utah is very hot from 3 in multiple games. But our final 4 should be the Phoenix Suns, the Memphis Grizzlies, and in the East it is the Milwaukee Bucks and the Philadelphia 76ers. We will do our conference finals picks predictions later and have a more developed and fleshed out, because maybe some of these picks are going to be wrong. Wouldn't surprise me at all. I was wrong about the regular season. And speaking of the regular season, let's wrap up the Lakers' god-awful season. It's only having like around a couple minutes left in this video, so I might as well just talk about the Lakers for a little bit. Yeah, that season was awful. I was completely wrong about what that team was going to do. I had Anthony Davis in contention for MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, and he missed, a shit ton of games. LeBron missed quite a few games as well. Unfortunately, Westbrook was super healthy, and he played like 78, 79 games. The Lakers, they ended off the season on a 2-game winning streak against the Thunder and the Denver Nuggets. Don't put too much stock into those games though, 'cause I saw some people saying that the Lakers, they were playing great defense. I'm like, bro, if you watch that Nuggets game, the score was 146 to 141. The game featured a bunch of G League call-ups like Mason Jones, Matt McClung. They didn't even call up Jay Huff for the Lakers, which is kind of surprising. But we'll see what they do in the offseason. You got potential suitors for Westbrook. I'm hearing Indiana. I'm hearing Charlotte. I'm not entirely too sure whether or not they make those moves. I would like for them to get rid of Westbrook because I just don't think he's a good player in the playoffs. And while you may get 2 smaller bad contracts, you should be getting guys that could at least help you win, or they're just a straight up better fit than Russell Westbrook. So I would like to have Brogdon, but he's injury prone too, which isn't the best. No, I am not high on moving AD or LeBron. They can still contend for a championship. They just got to get a better roster around them. And the Clippers aren't high on moving Kawhi or Paul George, even though they have missed more games than Anthony Davis and they're sitting in LA. So we just got to wait and see, man. I have no idea what they're going to do in this offseason. Hopefully they get rid of Westbrook's contract. But again, we got to wait and see. Without the way, y'all stay safe. I'm out.